Hello everyone, my name is Ikansh and welcome to my YouTube channel. Before I tell you the topic for today, I want to ask you one very important question, that have you watched my previous 5 videos? If yes, then congratulations, now you're ready to finally play chess. If you have not, then go back and watch those videos. I will put the link in the description. So again, before telling the topic, I want to discuss some theory now. So the game of chess is divided in 3 parts, which is opening, middle game, and the end game. These 3 parts are based on the number of moves and the feature of the game. So in the opening, you just bring out all your pieces from their original squares, which is also known as developing the pieces. And in the middle game, you just attack or you defense, you throw your pieces here and there. That's called the middle game. And the end game is when the most of the pieces are gets exchanged and there are a few pieces left on the board. So the first step is opening. So we are going to discuss the opening first. As you are a beginner, I would recommend you to play this move first, the move e4. I will discuss this opening in one of my separate videos. I'll make a video on that. So to understand the opening, there are some principles known as the opening principles. So I have prepared 10 opening principles for you, and by following that, you can become almost a great opening expert. So let me jump to the first opening principle. Question, it says rapidly develop all pieces. The main goal at opening is to develop pieces and reach castling as quick as possible. You can just ignore the 2 points because they are a little bit too advanced for you. So now let me get back to my board and explain you. Develop all your pieces very quickly. What does developing means? As I already explained you, developing means to bring out the pieces out from the initial squares. So now let me just show you an example of an opening. So we go develop the knights. So we are developing all the pieces. You see the knights when there from the original square, then the bishops. So slowly, each piece will come out. Then castling to make the king safe. We will discuss about one more opening principle related to castling. Now again, opening up this bishop so that we can develop this one as well. And finally moving the queen, then the rooks. And here the opening is completed as both white and black have moved all their pieces from their initial squares. So develop all your pieces very quickly. Now let's go to the second one. Is don't move the same piece twice during the opening. Try to place your pieces at the best possible position at the first move. It is a waste of time to move the same piece more than once during the opening. So let me get back to my board. Example which I just showed you now, did you notice me making any of the move with this piece twice? Let me again brush up you with this example. So we developed the knights only once, then came out the bishop, then we castled, then this piece only once. So the queen only once, the rooks only once. So again, you should not move the same piece twice during the opening because it just loses time. For example, here in this position, I play this move. Now, what does this move do? I just played 2 times with the same piece. Black can just respond with this move, attacking my knight, and now I have to go back. So it just wasted the time. Now let's go to the third one. Don't make unnecessary pawn moves during the opening. Pawn moves should be restricted during opening because the time involved in these moves could be applied to develop another piece. So back to our old example. I didn't move many pawns, so we can again go through it. We moved only one pawn just to open our bishops and the queen. And then let's keep going. You can't see any pawn. Yeah. So this we moved just because we wanted to develop our bishop. So in the whole example, we did only 2 pawn moves just to develop our pieces. Now, for example, in this position, I played this move. It doesn't help white because it doesn't develop any piece. Black develops his pieces. We play this. We keep playing the pawn moves. Now what has happened is black has already developed his 2 pieces, whereas white has all his pieces undeveloped and on their original squares. So anyway, later you have to go here. So avoid making unnecessary pawn moves like these which I just made. So hope you understood that. Now let's go to the next one. Avoid trading a developed piece for a not developed one. Generally, it's a bad deal to trade a well-positioned piece for a bad positioned one. When you trade one of your developed pieces for one of your opponent's not developed ones, you waste time. The same is true if you trade a piece that has moved a lot for one that your opponent moved only once. So again, back to our board. This is a position of in the which came in the opening. Now black plays this move. You have an option to take this knight. Would you take the knight? Of course not, because your bishop is already developed and this knight is not developed. So it's not a good idea to trade these pieces, and it's better to stay like that. You can continue with your development with the knight or the pawn or just castle. And that's all for this. Let's go to the next one. It says castle as quickly as possible. The king's safety is one of the most important things to care about during opening and middle game. The king in the center will always be very vulnerable to the opponent's attacks, especially in open position. Castling means placing your king comfortably behind a pawn blockade and allowing development of one of your rooks. Then the rook may rapidly occupy an open or half open file. For example, did we castle very quickly? Yes. So let me go through again. We developed our pieces which were coming in the way of the king and the rook, and then we just castled so that our king is safe and it is behind these pawns. Why do we castle? Just because our king is safe and the king doesn't come out in the middle game generally, because the king is an important piece and we need to save it. So the king remains in the corner of the board behind these three pawns which act as a shield, and this also helps us to develop this rook because this rook can't be developed for now. So what do? We go here and the rook can now occupy these files and it can do a good job. Kingside castling is safer than queenside castling. Kingside castling places the king away from the center and safer behind a rank of protected pawns. Furthermore, it's a quicker move than queenside castling since only two pieces have to be moved before. On the other hand, castling on the opponent's opposite side may be very interesting to create more attacking opportunities. You can ignore this one, it's quite advanced. Who says that the kingside castling is more safer than the queenside castling? Just it doesn't say that you always have to castle kingside and not queenside. You can also castle queenside, it's your choice, but kingside castling is more safer in the sense that if you castle here, what happens is your king is little safe behind these three pawns and only two pieces have to be removed. In the case of queenside castling, your king is little exposed to this diagonal and you have to waste one more move to go over here and behind these three pawns. And also there is a gap of three pieces. So first you have to remove the knight, then the bishop, then the queen, and only then you can castle. So it takes a lot of time. That is why there is a problem. Place your pawns in the center. The center of the chessboard consists of e4, e5, d4, and d5. The expanded center also includes the squares that form the c3, c6, f3, and f6 rectangle. Pawns are the best units to create the center because differently from pieces, they are not vulnerable to the attack of enemy pawns. In this opening principle, I want to explain you the center. The central squares are nothing but the squares which come in between the board in the center of the board. So these four are the central squares, which is E4, D4, and E5 and D5. If you can't remember by the notation, then you can remember by the 3-3-3-3 formula, which is 3 from this side, 3 from over here. Okay, wait a second, I drew the arrow wrong. So 3 from here, 3 from here, 3 from this side. So 3 from all the sides, they point out towards these four squares, which make up the center. So now we know these are the central squares. So this rule says cover the center with your pawns. I played this move in the beginning as I showed. Now let's say black doesn't play this move. He plays this. I play this move, he goes here, then I play this move. What I did is I placed my pawns in the center, and now these pawns are doing a good job. They have opened our bishops, opened the queen, and now white has more possibilities, and white has got a nice center. He has control over the center with his pawns. So this is always a good idea to place your pawns in the center. The says keep your pieces as close as possible to the center. In the center, a piece controls more squares than anywhere else on the board. The knight, for instance, may move to 8 different squares from the center, while it has only 2 options when placed in corners. The control of the center is also important because it enables pieces to move rapidly from one side to the board to the other. And if your pieces move faster than the ones of your opponent, you have greater chances to create a successful attack. Also, we are again talking about the center, that we should place our pieces close to the center. So in this example, just we saw, we are placing all our pieces close to the center. You can see this knight covers these central squares. Again, this knight also controls these central squares. So these are all the best positions of the pieces controlling the center again. Then castling just to make our king safer. Then d3 again. We are strengthening our center, you can see, and also developing our piece. So you can look at that. We now connect our rooks to bring them, and here white has a nice central control, and same for black as well. He has also placed his pieces towards the center. So this is a nice position for both white and black, because from the center your pieces are more active. For example, if I don't place my knight over here, in this position, just compare the knight here and the knight on its initial position. From the initial position, knight can control only 3 squares. And if I keep the knight here, how many squares does it control now? It covers 8 squares from, like it is close to the center. So it covers 8 squares. So that's the power of the center. So you have to keep it close to the center. Avoid advancing pawns that protect your king. Every pawn move creates a weakness that may seem irrelevant at first sight, but that can be explored later on by your opponent. Can anyone guess the aim of castling? Yes, the aim of castling is to protect our king in front of these pawns. This is very important, in front of these pawns, to protect our king. This rule says avoid advancing the pawns in front of your king. So you should not advance these pawns. For example, black castles, and I played the move this. So what it does, it kind of opens my king. Black continues with this development, then I play this. So just ignore that black can take here, just ignore that for a moment. But what it is doing is, it is opening your king and you're removing this pawn cover. So there is no help in castling if you want to do this. So this is not recommended. You should not do that in the opening. After covering all the 9 principles, we have come to the last principle, which is the 10th one. Develop knights before bishops. While bishops can control several squares from their original position, if there are no pawns obstructing their way, knights dominate only their neighbor squares and take longer to reach the opponent's field because they're less mobile pieces. Example which we just saw, here also we developed the knights before the bishops. As you can see, knights came first, then we started developing the bishops, we castled, and then the other bishop came. Why is it so? Because the bishops from the initial positions cover a lot of squares. So you can see this bishop is not developed, but it is still controlling these squares. Whereas these knights, which are not developed, control very less squares. So there might be problems developing these knights later because they can be attacked and they can't move very far. So we first develop these knights. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out my any further videos. You can also share the video with your friends and relatives. Your comments are the most welcome. Any doubts, feedbacks, or suggestions in the comments box. Do check the description because I will be putting the links of the videos there. And thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. Meet you in the next video.